Hello beautiful friends, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Heather and I am super excited that you're here, and for everybody who's been here for, well, the whole entire journey, I'm also really grateful that you're here as well. So today we are going to be planting one of my favorite late winter, early spring crops, and that's going to be kohlrabi. Now, I love kohlrabi, but there is a catch to planting this specific varietal as far as a early spring or succession sowing crop. So kohlrabi is very similar to most of your root vegetables. So think of it along the lines of turnips and beets and carrots. You're going to sow it pretty much the same way. Well, slightly different than carrots. Carrots you got to sow a little bit thicker. But kohlrabi is actually in the cabbage family instead of in maybe like what you would consider your traditional root vegetable variety. Now what that means is that this crop in particular actually is going to draw out more nutrients than your turnips and beets. Turnips and beets are an excellent crop to put in this time of the year to help add nutrients back into the soil. So not only do you get a harvest off of those, but you will also be adding nutrients into your soil. As I said, the exception to this is kohlrabi. But even despite that, I have already gone on ahead and I have already amended these beds with our beautiful worm castings that we recently harvested. I'll pop that video here for you to watch so that you can learn what you need to do to help add nutrients back into your soil this time of the year. I love this root vegetable in particular. Even though I am not necessarily adding nutrients back into the soil, I find this root vegetable to be very valuable in my kitchen because it's kind of this really beautiful cross between a cabbage and of course a turnip texture, which means that it's really great for roasting, really excellent. You can actually mash it or turn it into like you would cauliflower rice. If you want to go through that process, you can use this for that as well. But I just love to roast this in the oven and have it as a side with steak and pork and chicken, whatever it is that you like. It's just a really delicious crop to grow. And it's also very beginner friendly and easy to grow this time of the year because it is cold tolerant. So that is what you want to look for in crops this time of year, and that is why I'm choosing the kohlrabi as well, because it's a very cold tolerant crop. So let's go on ahead and get into the planting portion of this video. All right guys, so I'm going to just literally take my hori here, and all I'm going to do is make a nice little line, okay? Now, these seeds in particular, as you can see, are pretty tiny, all right? So they don't need to be planted real deep. They only need to be about 1/4 of an inch. Now, if your seed packet for some reason doesn't tell you how deep to plant it, this one does. It says right there, bring it in close, 1/4 inch deep, full sun, cold tolerant, and about 4 weeks till the plant comes up. So if your packet doesn't say anything along those lines or doesn't give information on the back, just look at the size of the seed, and however long the seed is, that's how deep you need to plant it. So I've probably actually made my depth a little bit too deep down here, so I'm just going to kind of pat that in like so. Now these seeds are a couple years old, so I'm going to be putting 2 in each slot. Now you need to space these anywhere from 4 to 6 inches apart, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And my beautiful little hori here has, of course, measurements on it, so that's what I'm going to be going by. So I'm taking 2 seeds just to make sure that I get some germination. Now, just because your seeds are older doesn't mean that they won't germinate. But what it does mean is that your germination rate may be slightly lower. Now, at the same time, it may not be. And if I end up having 2 seeds in one of these spaces, all I'll do is just go in and thin it and pull out the extra one. Okay guys, so I did all of this in pre-moistened soil. So that is something that I highly recommend for this crop in particular, just because the seeds are so small. I don't want to have dry soil, put the seeds in, and then water on top of it and risk the seeds shifting around and getting too closely packed together, because kohlrabi does get, well, pretty large. They can get about up to 12 inches in diameter if you let them. Some varieties can get a little bit larger, just depends. But that is all that I have for you on this video today. I hope you found it helpful and inspiring and gave you an idea for maybe a different crop to grow in your space for a late winter, early spring harvest. And stay tuned for more content along these lines, because we're going to be talking about more early spring crops that you can be growing. And don't forget to check out our guide, Digging Deep, and we are talking about the power of healthy soil in your garden and how that is more important, really, at the end of the day, than the size of your garden space. So go on ahead and check that guide out at the link below here in the description box. And as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.